Good evening and welcome to this quick webinar on audit to FP&A. One of the most popular questions that I always get asked, and believe me, I almost get at least a dozen messages a day asking about how can I move from accounting or audit roles to an FP&A kind of a role. And that is what we will try and address in today's quick webinar. First of all, thank you for your trust. You have taken out your valuable 90 minutes to spend time with us today to learn something new in FP&A. So thank you so much for your trust. And pat yourselves on the back for taking action. You see, so many people signed up for this webinar, but you are the ones who showed up, and pat yourselves on the back for taking action to learn something new as well. A little bit about me before we begin with. My name is Saval Parvatikar. I'm a qualified chartered accountant with 16 plus years in the industry. I've served as CFO in India and in the Middle East. I'm now the co-founder and lead faculty at FP&A Professionals Institute. I've mentored thousands of chartered accountants and finance professionals through various programs. Over the last 5 years, I've been an active mentor and online trainer, and I've trained thousands of professionals on various topics like FP&A, business partnering, data storytelling, CFO coaching, and much more. Over the last 12 months, I've also had the privilege of building a community of more than 200 CFOs, organizing 10 plus events, meeting top-notch CFOs across India and the Middle East, and learn from them as well. My co-founder Asif Masani, so he'll be joining in some time. He's also an accountant, 15 plus years experience, worked across different sectors. He's a renowned author with two books to his name, two best-selling books to his name, From Accounting to FP&A and all about FP&A. The regular contributor and a content writer about FP&A, has over 150,000 followers, and he has also been my partner and coaching and training with me. He also runs two popular podcasts, and which gives him the ability to learn from the best in class in the world, which I've also tried to incorporate in all our content and training programs as well. A little bit about FPI. So we are close to 2 years old now. We have trained 5,000 students across various programs. FP&A Masterclass being our signature program, financial modeling, certified global FP&A professional program, which is a 6-month exhaustive program in FP&A, which we'll talk about it in a while. Overall, we are happy that we are able to impact more than 5,000 students positively in their careers. Okay, with that background in mind, so what are we going to cover today? So this is going to be a quick training, but I would highly encourage you to get rid of all the distractions, and we'll try and cover as much content as possible in about 60 minutes or so. So try and get rid of all the distractions, and let's dive into the today's training. So what are we going to cover? We'll try and look at that classic shift from your accounting or audit firm, okay, to a finance function or a corporate or a business finance kind of a function in a manufacturing, trading, or a services company. That's what we're trying to talk about. We're not talking about financial services. We're not talking about investment banking or any of the financial services, venture capital, or private equity function. We're talking about a classic corporate finance or a business finance function where you can transition into work into those kind of functions. So what are we going to cover today? We'll try and understand different roles on the finance and accounting side, where you fit into the structure, right? And how finance is going to be different from your regular accounting roles. Some of the tips to prepare for that shift from audit to FP&A. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about certifications and courses in FP&A and how they can be helpful for you at this stage of your career. Okay. So all in all, a packed 60 minutes. I'll be a little bit fast, okay? But we will have Q&A at the end if you have any questions. So pay attention here, get rid of all the distractions and 100% attention on the screen. First of all, is audit to FP&A possible? Is accounting to FP&A possible? An absolute yes, okay? And these are success stories of the people that I have known very closely, right? One of my friends, he started as a payroll manager in Pune, is now heading a tech company as head of finance in the US. 22 years in audit in KPMG, risen up to the partner level. He's now the group CFO of one of the largest banks in the Middle East. Audit assistant at EY, a classic start to your career, and now ended up with group CEO of an advertising company, right? Not even the CFO, CEO of an advertising company. Now you can imagine that anything is possible, right? All the transitions are possible. There is plenty of transferable skills that all of you have gained over the last few years, which you can take into the other roles as well. So with these success stories in mind, I want to first kind of give you a quick landscape of what kind of different finance and accounting roles are out there. Now you can divide the entire industry into 4 broad categories. One is the public accounting space, which is your audit firms, your accounting firms, the big 4s, the big 10s or whatever, right? And there you join typically after you qualify. Then there are the banks and the financial institutions, which is your retail banking, corporate banking, all of these things. Again, a bank again is a big ocean. Financial institutions, your private equity, merchant banking, venture capitalist, early stage funding, all of these things come under the financial institutions bit. And then you have the classic corporates, your manufacturing or services companies, where you are taking on the role of either M&A, corporate finance, business finance, and many other roles as well. So that is a large landscape. So today, what we are talking about is the classic corporates, right? And we're not covering the other three landscapes. We're trying to cover about how you can transition into a classic FP&A, finance manager, or a corporate finance kind of a, or a business finance kind of a role. Now, what are the different profiles available out there in the market? If you look at a large conglomerate or a large company, and spend some big time on this, there are three broad categories of roles. One is financial reporting, which is compliance focused. Then there is business finance or finance business partner or FP&A. And then there are some specialty functions or functions which do not necessarily fit into bucket one and bucket two, right? Bucket one is all about your compliance focused activities like preparation of financial statements, consolidated statements, notes to accounts, internal audit, statutory audit, SOX audit, regulatory reporting. All of that comes under financial reporting and compliance. Typically, these are called controllership functions. Then you have business finance, where you're talking about commercial aspects or performance management related aspects called as, some of the activities could be budgeting, forecasting, different kind of profitability analysis, commentaries, working capital management, capex, contracts, pricing. All of these things are commercial in nature, and that's where your bucket two captures all the commercial finance stuff. And then there are some expert tasks. These could be a specialized task like a treasury or a forex management or an M&A, fundraising, structured finance, supply chain finance. All these are very, very specialist kind of functions which cannot necessarily be categorized into bucket one and two. Now, if you're working for a small and medium kind of a company, then your roles will have a lot of overlap, which means that you are the one who's handling financial reporting, you are the one who's handling budgeting, forecasting, and you are the one who's handling banking relationships as well. But larger the company, more specific is the role. You could be just FP&A manager for one business unit, or you could be just handling only a headcount or salaries budget for a particular business unit. It could be as specific as that. Okay. So just give me a second. Okay. So these are some of the roles that you could possibly find in large setups. Again, not an exhaustive list, but you can broadly categorize them into these three buckets as well. Then what could your role be in the corporate finance or on the larger company side? There are four possibilities. One is you could be in a regional kind of a setup, right? We'll talk about this in a while. Then business unit kind of a setup, global shared services, or a global center of excellence or capability centers or whatever you want to call it. Then it could be either a project-based or a client-based kind of a setup as well. Okay. Now let's spend 1 minute on each of them to understand what your role could possibly be. In a regional kind of a setup, you could be FP&A manager, Northeast, Southwest, FP&A manager, APAC, FP&A manager, LATAM, whatever the case might be. Your stakeholders would be your regional heads, your regional general managers or business unit heads. And then you would be reporting into the corporate finance or corporate FP&A team, where you'll be supplying a lot of data and information to them as well. Or alternatively, you could be on the corporate FP&A side, where you're listening with all these regions and then collecting the data from them, analyzing, and then supplying some insights back to them as well. Okay, so that could be your role if it's a regional setup. Then there is business unit-wise setup. Take the example of an oil and gas company, which has multiple business units. Let's say aviation fuel, gas, lubricants, and you could be an embedded finance. For example, you could be FP&A manager aviation, where you're dealing typically with production team, sales team, marketing team, trying to collect a lot of data and information, and then liaising with these business teams as well as corporate finance team for executing your FP&A roles. Then comes your global shared services or global capability center kind of a role. Many American and European companies have now set up their shared services in India or Philippines or any of these cost-effective economies, where all the work is getting outsourced. And you are sitting here as an analyst in India and then supporting multiple stakeholders across the globe. Or alternatively, you could be FP&A manager in, let's say, US, and your team of analysts is actually sitting in India or Philippines, and then they're doing the analysis for you, and you are interpreting it and supporting the business as a business partner. So that is also a possibility for you. Then comes your project or client-based role. Think about a large construction company, right? So they could get a project to execute or construct a refinery. Now, constructing a refinery is usually a 3 to 5 year game, and there is so much of cost involved that it needs a dedicated project finance team who's handling the entire finance, profitability, revenue recognition, costs, everything around the project of that constructing the refinery as well. So that could be your embedded finance role, where you're in a project-based kind of a role. Think about a large software company or an advertising company or any services company. There could be large set of clients or a cluster of clients where you are handling finance for that particular set of clients, revenue recognition, costs, profitability, client profitability, project profitability, All of these performance management frameworks you'll be handling for that client itself, and you'll be reporting, you'll be supplying the data into corporate FP&A and helping the client leads manage the performance of the business. So that could be your another client-based embedded finance kind of a role. So there are these four possibilities, right? Regional, business unit level, global shared services, client or a project level. So these are the four possibilities that could possibly be your roles in the finance side. Now, how is FP&A going to be different from your regular controllership or your accounting role? Now, let us understand this with some questions that might come to you in your day-to-day role. Now, your business unit head will come and ask you, what is the Q1 revenue target for our department? Right? A classic question. You would refer your budget or a forecast and answer this question. How much have you set aside for LinkedIn marketing in this year? And what is the quarterly breakup? Again, a classic question from a marketing director. They might want to spend on multiple channels. And on this occasion, he's coming and asking you, okay, how much have you set aside for LinkedIn marketing? What has been the previous ROAS, return on ad spends, and how can we improve on it? What is the next quarter plan for? All of these things you can ask as well. Then out of the 50 headcount additions, how many are we planning to hire in Q2? Okay, great question from HR head, right? Let's say 50 headcounts you need to add. You can't add them on 1st of January. So they'll have to be phased throughout the year. And that phasing has to be in sync with the business growth. It can't happen that the business is growing by 50% and you're adding your headcount only by 20%. Or your business is growing by 50% and you're adding 20% and your headcount is growing by 50%. So it has to be in sync. And that's how you will have to work with HR teams to plan those additions in a phased manner. Then comes your question from a business unit head. How much new business do we have to bring in Q4 to cover the shortfall in Q3? So already 3 quarters have passed. Final quarter is your last chance to kind of meet or beat the number. So how much do you need to bring to cover the shortfall that has already happened till Q3, right? You can refer to the forecast and answer this question. What is the impact on profit if we drop our prices by 8%? Scenario planning related question, where what happens if you increase your prices, if you decrease your prices, what is the impact on margin, right? What is the impact on profitability? What is the impact on capacity utilization, right? All of these things are answered by your respective scenario planning kind of an analysis. Now, you see, if you look at these questions, again, not an exhaustive list of questions, but I hope these questions give you some idea of how your role is going to be different from accounting roles. These questions have nothing to do with your accounting standards or IFRS or US GAAP or anything like that. These are all performance management questions. To support the business, you need to understand the performance of the business. And how will you understand the performance of the business? By mastering performance-oriented conversations. Okay. And how are they different from compliance conversations? Compliance conversations circle around, accounting standards, GAAP, withholding taxes or TDS, GST or your VAT, financials, notes to accounts. These are all compliance focused or reporting focused conversations. Whereas performance conversations are, okay, revenue, gross margins, product profitability, client profitability, contracts, pricing, budgets, forecast, short-term forecast, long-range planning. All of these things are performance management related questions, which have nothing to do with your accounting rules and regulations. These are all largely commercial in nature and help a CFO or a senior business management team manage the performance of the business. Okay, that's the rewiring that you will have to do to work in an FP&A role. The second mindset shift that you will be required to work in an FP&A is it will not be an isolated function. At regular intervals, you will be collecting a lot of inputs from various departments in your company, and you will also be analyzing and providing a lot of insights for them to take a decision. For example, on one of the occasions, my CFO asked me to collaborate with HR to understand the financial impact of attrition. Okay, a lot of people are coming and going. Has that been positive? Has that been negative? What is the general impression? The general impression is that attrition is expensive. But when you actually work out things, it may be in your favor. You never know, right? So the actual analysis of collaborating with the HR and executing the attrition understanding, right? That is what was one of my assignments as well. So similarly, you would be collaborating regularly with different kind of team members to either collect inputs from them or keep providing insights. So that's why strong cross-functional relationships are absolutely important to execute a P&A role. Now, what are your key activities involved in FP&A? Now, there could be a number of small set of activities or dozens of activities that you'll be carrying out in FP&A, but all of them can be largely grouped into 3 activities or 3 buckets. One is your budgeting. That's your annual business plan or your annual financial statements or projected financial statements that you will be preparing just before the start of the financial year. Okay. It's a one-time activity prepared just before the start of the financial year. Then comes your forecasting. Forecasting is tracking ongoing performance of the business. Let's say I've completed 3 months in the financial year. So Jan to March of actuals plus April to December of forecast. Typically, we call it a 3 plus 9 forecast. 3 months of actuals and 9 months of forecast. We don't keep revising the budget every now and then. Budget number is approved by the board, frozen, uploaded in the system, done. Now we keep tracking forecast either on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis, depending on the volatility and complexity of your business. Okay. In some companies, a quarterly forecast is good enough. In some companies, they need to track it more frequently. So a monthly forecast makes more sense. Now, then there are management commentaries, different types of reporting packs to business heads, to CEO, to CFO, you'll be preparing. And to execute them, you'll be carrying out activities like variance analysis and profitability analysis, right? So these are the three broad buckets in FP&A that you'll find in every company, irrespective of the size, small, medium, large. You'll find some of the other variations of these three set of activities in your FP&A roles. Now, in the interest of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you one example of building a budget, a quick example of building a budget. Okay. And I need your complete participation in that. Then we'll touch upon one management report. I'll just show you one slide of how a management report looks like, and then we'll move into the next section. Ready? Let's get started. I want all your attention on the screen here. I'm going to first read out the case study, explain to you what needs to be done, and then I'll ask for your comments at regular intervals. Okay. So let's get started. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let me get the Excel sheet ready. It's a small case. Will probably take about 10 minutes for us. So let's get started. Focus on my questions and what I'm reading. I'll be solving it for you. But at one or two occasions, I'll ask you some questions and I'll expect your answers in the chat box. Okay, let's get started. All attention's on the screen. You're working with Infosys as a business finance manager, primarily looking at client contracts, business unit profitability, and business unit FP&A. Infosys is a B2B software company providing software services for various clients. The revenue generated by Infosys is largely a split between retainer contracts and projects. Retainer is where you're billing a fixed sum of money, either as a fixed sum or on a time and material basis. Okay, basis the timesheets, basis the hours that your team is spending on the client. Project is project based, like it could be a 3 month, 6 months project. And there are milestones in these projects, and basis these milestones, you will be billing to the client and recognizing revenue. You are required to, work with the business lead and prepare revenue projections for 2024. Assume that you are at the end of 2023 and you now need to discuss with the business head and prepare revenue projections for 2024. Senior management guidance is to aim for at least 12% revenue growth over 2023. Many times the senior management starts with a vision. Okay, next year we need to achieve 10% growth or 12% growth. So this year their guidance is that you need to achieve 12% growth over 2023 revenue. Okay, assume that you are now at the end of 2023. Okay, let's get started. As a classic FP&A professional, what I will do is I'll get my historical data ready, get the template ready to prepare the budget for 2024, and then I'll start my discussions with the business head. Okay, so here is my revenue template or a budget template for 2024. Jan to December is what I need to populate. I have my 23 revenue, client-wise details. Is it a retainer or a project? And if it's a retainer, then what is the monthly retainer amount? I get my template ready and I start my discussions with the business head, and I've captured some notes basis my discussions. So what we'll do is we'll look at these notes one by one and try and populate the 2024 budget accordingly. Okay, let's get started. First point, Visa will renew its contract for 1 more year at the same time. I'm going to be a little bit fast. Okay, so Visa is $1 million per month and they are going to renew the contract till December. Okay, so I'm just capturing the same number from January to December. Bank of America contract ends June 24 and there's a strong possibility that they may not renew. The business head feels that Bank of America may not renew. They might go into an RFP, they might be exploring other vendors, they might not like our service, or some project might have come to an end, whatever might be the reason. The business unit head feels that they will not renew after July 24th. So we'll capture the revenue only till June 24, till the time we have the contract with them. Then IBM has agreed to renew its contract with an escalation of $100,000. IBM is paying us $1.4 million per month. Now they will be paying us an escalation of 100K, which is 1.5 million. So we'll increase that to 1.5 million and then capture that till the end of the year. So that's how the IBM contract will also be renewed. Then comes ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil has decided to discontinue our services from 2024. What happened here? ExxonMobil was one of our largest clients for 2024. And they have decided to discontinue the services for 2024. Whatever might be the reason, they might be going into an RFP. They might be, looking at some other vendors. Maybe they don't like our face anymore. Whatever might be the reason, right? So ExxonMobil has decided to discontinue. Now, as a CFO, as a finance head, you must be thinking, oh shit, software services is a people-oriented business. What do we do with the people who are working on ExxonMobil, right? Let's see. Right now, we are only discussing about revenue. We'll think about people and costs later. Right now, all we know is that ExxonMobil is not going to continue in 2024, which is a big blow. Yeah. Then comes the next point. Talks with Microsoft have fructified. Contract is under discussion. Likely commencement of retainer from 1st of March at $3.5 million. So we lost one client, we won another client. So $3.5 million is what Microsoft retainer will be from March onwards. Why March? Remember, we are at the end of December. But typically in large B2B contracts, the legal teams do a lot of back and forth for signing the contract. So we anticipate that all the contract and the signing of the dotted line will be completed by February, and we will be able to start the project with from 1st of March 2024. The other reason could also be that they might be getting rid of their existing agency or a company, and there they might have a 30 days or a 60 days notice. They must have issued that notice, and the notice ends on 1st of March 24, and our engineers will be deployed on Microsoft from 1st March of 2024. Okay, one negative news, one positive news. Let's see what other discussions tell us. L&T has asked for a scope and fee reduction of 20% from April onwards. So L&T is paying us $1.5 million per month. Okay, and they've asked for a 20% fee reduction. So our fee will get reduced by 300K, and 1.2 million is what they'll be paying us till the end of the year. Now, this is because some projects might have come to an end. This is a scope reduction, which is fair enough. So we are deploying or withdrawing some of our engineers from their site. Ministry of Tourism is planning a bigger project, roughly $4 million. So last year, Ministry of Tourism had done a project of $1 million. This year, they are going to do a $4 million project in April and May. Okay, so I'm going to park it equally. Remember, we are at the end of December 2023. I don't know exactly if it will start on 1st of April or 7th of April or 15th of April. Right now, my best guess is that it will be equally split between April and May. The actual project might start on 7th of April, which is perfectly fine. Right now, basis the information that I know, I'm going to equally split it between April and May at $4 million. Cool. Next point. Management aims to achieve an overall revenue growth of 12% over 2023. Okay. What was the revenue for 2023? $125.8 million. A 12% growth over this would amount to roughly $141 million. Okay, that's what they want to aim for. But we just took a stock of all our clients and we discussed with the business heads, and the tally is coming only to $87.3 million. So what can we do? I don't know what management is smoking, right? How can we achieve $141 million? Now, I want your thoughts in the chat box. Take 30 seconds. Think about it. Think about it like an FP&A lead, and then answer in the chat box. What can be done? You need to submit a budget of $141 million. Right now, you took stock of all your clients and you're at $87.3 million. There's still a gap. How do we plug this gap? What can be done? Put your responses in the chat box. Come on, come on. Nobody, go by your instinct. Come on, come on. I'm looking for some responses in the chat box. You are the FP&A lead. What will you tell the CEO? Sorry, boss, we cannot do $141 million. Let's all of us take a salary cut. Okay, try to talk to the business unit lead to pitch for more clients. Okay, new business is what you're talking about. Okay, any other thoughts? Come on, come on, come on. Type your responses in the chat box. Nobody? All of you are going to tell the CEO that you are not going to achieve it. Come on, come on, come on. Some of you must be thinking we need to sell more to the existing clients. That's not possible. Now, we have already discussed what the existing clients will be doing. Renegotiate with Visa. Visa's already told their commitment. They've already renewed the contract. Okay, so new business is actually the right answer. We need to go and hunt for new business. And I'll tell you what happens in a B2B services business. We are in a constant pitch mode. Okay, we might be talking to 15 clients because we know a couple of clients will go, some new clients will come. And you have to look at that pitch list or a client list, potential client list, and assign some probability or try and assess what kind of a client win is possible, okay, and where the certainty is higher or where the probability is higher. Now, let's say we are pitching to 15 clients right now. I can safely assume that, okay, maybe we'll win 1 or 2 clients from it. Okay, so that could be a possibility. But now my question to you is, assuming we will be putting new business in the Excel sheet or new business in the budget, how will we capture it in the Excel sheet? Now, okay, let me cover that in the interest of time. So there are 2 options. One is you will add a new business line item and put some estimated new business from Jan to December as a number, placeholder, whatever the case might be. A little bit more scientific way to add new business is look at and list, find out probabilities of winning a certain retainer. Okay, so I'm just putting in placeholder as client 1. Okay, and I'm putting in a retainer, let's say from April onwards at $3 million. Yeah, and a $3 million client is not something which is unusual, right? We have won a $1.5 million client. We have served a $6 million client. We are serving a $3.5 million client. Okay, winning a $3 million client is not something a big deal for us, right? And then maybe this is not the only win that the team will do. So maybe we'll win another client in May, let's say $2.5 million. Okay, so I'm just putting in a placeholder. Okay, I'm putting this as placeholder client 1, client 2, right? But these are not random numbers. These are coming from my scientific study of the new business pipeline, okay, where we might be pitching to 15, 20 clients at a time. In that, I've identified that these are, basis the discussion with the business head, that these are 3 or 4 potentials where we feel we have a stronger chance to win the client. Okay, so that's a retainer. Now, where are we? We are at $134.3 million. We still have to reach $141 million. Like how we won the Ministry of Tourism project, maybe we will win 1 or 2 more points, 1 or 2 more projects. Okay, so I'm going to put, let's say, 1 project a quarter. Okay, now putting it at the end of the quarter doesn't mean that it will exactly come in March and June and September. I'm putting this as a placeholder. I don't know. It might come on 1st of January. It might come mid of February. Right now, I'm in 2023. So I'm just putting these numbers as a placeholder basis my intelligent guess or historical trends that I have seen. Okay, now we are at 13.1%. We also don't want to give more to the management than what is anticipated, than what is required. So let me reduce this project to 1K. Now we are at 12.3%. Fair enough. We are still crossing the $141 million threshold. Okay. So this is how I studied my new business pipeline, and then I am putting in some placeholders, basis an intelligent guess. Okay. And this is my new business. Now, this $141 million that we are submitting as a budget to the headquarters or to the CEO, right? This is split into 2 parts. One, what we call as confirmed business or identified business, okay, which is basically our existing clients who have confirmed that they will sign a contract, which was $87.3 million. And then the other part was a placeholder that we put, basis studying the new business pipeline. This is called unidentified new business. I don't know where this $54 million is going to come from, but it is going to come from some new business in the pipeline. Okay, that's called unidentified new business. Now, if you see, the unidentified new business is 38% of my total business. Okay, now the question to you is it high or is it low? Type your responses in the chat box. Go by your instinct. Is 38% unidentified new business? I don't know where 38% of the business is going to come from at the start of the year or the budgeting exercise. Is it high or is it low? Okay, Marut says high. Come on, guys, I need some more participation. All you need to type is high or low, basis what you feel. Okay, Lavi says high. Pooja says high. Okay, come on, high or low? I want responses from everybody. Are you still awake or switched on to a party mode on Friday night? Okay, most of you are saying high. Yeah. Okay, now I'll tell you that whether it is high or low will actually depending on your historical performance. Now, if in the past, let's say I take my last 3 years as average, and if in the past I have achieved 35 to 40% unidentified new business every year in the last 3 years, then this is not high. Okay. But if my last 3 years new business average has been 15 to 20%, then this 38% is high. Then we'll have to go back to the business and tell them that, boss, this has never been done before. Are you sure we are going to do 38%? Are you sure these 3 clients are going to come? Right? That is how we will be questioning it. Now, once we do all of that questioning, get a comfort on these numbers, we will then go ahead and submit this budget to the headquarters. They will view it, question it, whatever they want to do, change it. Then this gets finally approved and it will go into the system. Now, this is how a end-to-end B2B services budget is built. Now, you must be thinking, okay, now there are about 6-7 clients here. Okay, this is so easy to manage. There are 800 clients. Okay, the process exactly is the same. What you will do is you will split probably your top 25% of the clients, which would be forming your 60-70% of your revenue. You will discuss those with the business head or with the project manager one-on-one. And the other 750, 780 clients, you just send email to all the project managers saying, confirm the status of your renewal. Are they giving any escalation? They will fill in a template or they'll update in the CRM or whatever, and then you will pull that data into your revenue budget. Okay, so that's how you submit a B2B revenue budget. Okay, so I hope you just got a brief idea of how the revenue budget is built. I'm going to share this working in the chat box. If at all you want to just quickly download it, you can download it. Just close this. I'm sharing it in the chat box. Okay, Marut says, can you please repeat the last part? Okay, let me come back to it. I'll have to open the sheet. Hold on. Yeah, what I was saying is that in the example that we took, we have only about 6 or 7 clients. Okay. But in a real life scenario, what happens is that there are, let's say, 800 clients. First of all, we'll have more than 15 minutes to discuss 800 clients. And then the second part is that we will narrow down on the top 20-25 clients, discuss them one-to-one in person with the business head or project manager. And for rest of the other 750, 780 clients, we will reach out to the project managers, ask them to review the status of the contract and update it in the CRM, customer relationship management tool, right? Or they might Excel template, they will fill in the Excel template and send it back, and we'll consolidate it into a revenue budget. Was that the question, Marut? Did it answer? Okay, cool. Sounds good. Okay, I've uploaded the sheet in the chat box. All of you who would like to download it, please go ahead and download. We will wait for 30 seconds. Once you've downloaded, just type done in the chat box and then we'll move into the next section. Okay, I see a couple of dones. Okay, so I spoke about three main activities in FP&A, right? Budgeting, forecasting, and management reporting. So budgeting and forecasting more or less are very similar. Just follow the same exercise, just that during a forecasting exercise, you have a prior number or you have some budget number as a base, which you will retest your assumptions. And then if required, you will make changes in the forecast. Okay, but I hope budgeting exercise or building the revenue budget gave you some idea of what happens during the budgeting exercise. Similarly, you will do various set of costs and your end outcome of the budget will look pretty much like a P&L statement or an income statement, which has estimated revenue, costs, and operating profit of your next financial year, which gets approved by the budget and gets uploaded into the system. Okay, next comes management reporting. The third bucket was management reporting. Again, management reporting is vast. You prepare n number of different kind of reports. I'm just going to show you one report, which is basically a revenue bridge between your budget submission and your last year revenue. So last year revenue was 2024 and 2025 revenue, let's say you have submitted 55.3 million. Now this gap from 35.9 to 55.3 million, you need to explain it to the management. Now, how will you explain it? We'll explain it through a classic waterfall chart. What are the positives? What are the negatives? Okay. And this comprises of two major variances. One is the price variance and the other one is the volume variance. So these are the price variance and these are the volume variance. And then you will top it up with a strong headline saying that average price increase of 14% across categories, volume growth in cone and cup sales offset by volume dip in sandwich sales. Right? That's your title, that's your headline. And this is how you would present to the management report. Again, this is just one part of your entire management deck or a reporting deck that you would prepare. Waterfall chart is a chart that is extensively used by FP&A teams to bridge gaps between two numbers, explain the reasons for these variances. Okay, I hope you get some idea of what happens in the management reporting. It's not your classic accounting close. This is a little bit more, it's about analysis, coming up with insights for the management. Now that you have some idea about FP&A, so how do you prepare for that shift from an audit or an accounts role to an FP&A role, right? First of all, try and leverage your sector experience. Let's say, for example, if you've worked in accounts or audit of an insurance company, try and look for a FP&A role in an insurance company, because at least you understand the terminologies. What is an insurance premium? What is a reinsurance premium, right? What is a claim ratio? At least you understand some terminologies, some KPIs of an insurance company. Okay, similarly, whatever your sector is, try and look for an FP&A role in the same sector. Find the jobs through your network. Again, more than half of the jobs are actually unpublished jobs, right? So you need to understand how to leverage that unpublished jobs or how to leverage your network for getting those jobs as well. Make compliance your bridge, which means that even if your role has partial FP&A or analysis, take that plunge, right? Let's say your role is a blended role where you are looking at 70-80% compliance and 30% FP&A or business finance. Still take that chance, because that's your bridge to move into the industry side. And then you can later on aim for a pure analysis or a business finance kind of a role as well. Then comes your tool exposure. Have basic understanding of Power BI or Tableau. You don't need to be an expert, okay? Tools are only an aid for your understanding. They are not a substitute for your conceptual understanding. Okay, many people ask me that if I learn Power BI, will I get an FP&A role? No, you need to know the concepts of FP&A and then Power BI can supplement it. And it can happen without BI tools as well, right? So Power BI and Tableau, spend about 8 to 10 hours on those free courses or courses on Udemy. That's just good enough for you to get started. Once you notice that your tool or particular tool is being extensively used in your role, then you can spend a 40, 50, 60 hour course to kind of get a certification in that tool. Otherwise, don't waste your time. Create a reason with the qualification. Okay, today there are certification programs, although fairly new, the certification programs available in FP&A. And that can become a talking point on your resume. When you say, let's say, for example, you say MBA finance or chartered accountant with 5 years of experience. Instead of that, you can say chartered accountant or MBA finance and a certified FP&A professional with 5 years experience in the areas of financial reporting, financial analysis, whatever. Yeah, that makes it more authentic. Okay, because remember, the first person who's going to look at your resume is not a finance person. That's going to be an HR person. Okay? And they operate by keywords. Okay, at least that will get the attention. Then they'll call you. They'll ask you, what have you done in a day? At least you can authentically answer that this is what was covered in my certification. Yes, I may not have end-to-end FP&A experience, but I've seen how a budget looks like. I know what a rolling forecast is. I know what a management reporting is. I know what a balanced scorecard is, right? At least you can confidently answer that. So these are some of the ways that you can try and prepare for that shift into from an audit to a FP&A kind of a role. Yes, Sunil has a comment. I hope not only Power BI. Many employers are asking for SQL, Anaplan, Alteryx, Oracle Fusion. Yeah, so whatever tool is in their company, they will ask for it. There are probably more than 100 tools. You will never be able to master all the tools. So don't make yourself or don't tie yourself to tool. Okay. Yes, Power BI and SQL are generic. They can be used by every company, but a company can be using a Jedox or a Vena or a Planful or Anaplan or whatever. You can't master all the FP&A tools anyway. But the fundamental architecture of an FP&A tool might be similar. Everybody will operate on a cost center, profit center structure, a cube structure, or a parameter structure, or dimension structure, right? If you understand the architecture of an FP&A tool, right, which is what we cover in the CGFPA program as well. If you understand the architecture, then you can use that transferable skill to navigate any FP&A tool for that matter, right? So yes, let them ask. It's okay. Okay. So what are the next steps? How do you prepare for finance roles? Now, I spoke about the three broad buckets on the compliance bucket and the commercial bucket, right? Most of you have exposure to the compliance bucket because you come from an accounting qualification like a CA, CMA, CPA, ICA, whatever. Yeah. But the commercial aspect is largely experiential in nature. This is where your accounting qualifications are not helping you. Right? These are largely experiential in nature. Because unless you prepare an end-to-end budget, an end-to-end budget is a very lengthy exercise. It cannot be converted into a 10-mark question or a multiple choice questions. That is where these academic qualifications have certain limitations, right? So largely FP&A roles or business partnering roles are experiential in nature. That's what we have tried to do at FPI, try and give you that exposure through real life looking case studies, okay, in the different sectors that we have worked on as faculty. Yeah. And we try and give you that experience through various programs. So we have spoken to hundreds of CFOs. We have did our own internal CFO survey. And there are a number of skill sets that CFOs today are looking for in their finance teams while they're building their modern finance team. And there are 5 critical skill sets that are non-negotiable for CFOs. Which are those? First is core FP&A concepts: budgeting, forecasting, gross margins, profitability analysis, margin analysis, variance analysis, financial modeling is a separate skill, but again, core concepts are something which are non-negotiable. Then comes financial modeling. Financial modeling, not investment banking related, not valuations or not leverage buyouts. It is financial modeling related to your FP&A role, the revenue model, your cost model, your business model canvas, your sensitivity analysis, trend analysis. All of these things are your financial modeling. Then comes your data storytelling. You are great at Excel sheets, but how will you communicate with non-finance team members? They don't understand 10,000 lines of Excel sheets like you do. That is where your visualization, your narrative, your messaging to the business teams, how do you influence them? All of that comes under data storytelling. Then comes business partnering, your ability to think beyond Excel sheets, business acumen, okay? Building strong cross-functional relationships to support them, to influence the business teams. That is what business partnering is all about. And we cover practical examples, in our programs as well. Leveraging AI, the technological and developments that are happening in the field, right? If a budget today is being prepared with 5 steps, maybe AI will eliminate a couple of steps in that, okay? If you're taking 10 steps to analyze a certain variance analysis and prepare a management commentary, maybe AI will eliminate 5 steps in that. All of those developments are coming, okay? And then you need to leverage to become far more efficient and fast in your roles as well. Now, here is a statistic. 79%, which means roughly 8 out of 10 CFOs are saying that it is generally difficult to find the right talent. And, I was just looking at the comment, who mentioned the comment? Sunil mentioned this comment that they're asking for these skill sets. Everybody wants FP&A, experienced FP&A professionals. Everybody wants people who know these kind of tools. Yeah. And, but where will you get all of them, right? So that's the reality, right? There are not enough experienced FP&A professionals out there. So that is why, to bridge the gap in the market, we have come up with our own certification program. It's a 6-month exhaustive certification program. It's called Certified Global FP&A Professional Program. It's a global FP&A certification built and delivered by CFOs and FP&A leaders, not by university professors. Okay. 10 comprehensive modules, which we'll talk about it in a while, through experiential sessions, simulations, group discussions, practical examples. You'll also be part of a global alumni network. CGFPA program has been taken by students from more than 25 countries so far. You'll get sessions with a personalized career coach. You get placement support. Again, I'm being very careful to say not a guarantee, but a placement support in the sense your resume review, your LinkedIn profile, mock interview preparations, test prep, all of these things to help you increase your chances for landing your FP&A role. We have our own recruitment division now. It's called FP&AJobs.com. We were trying to build a lot of relationships with corporates to bring acceptability for the CGFPA program. Right? I don't want to overpromise, but right now we are still in the initial stages. But in a couple of years down the line, you will see that CGFPA will become mainstream. Now, that's what we anticipate. Then monthly Q&A sessions where you can directly get in touch with our faculty, ask any questions that you have. External speaker sessions, top global FP&A professionals, tool providers, consultants, transformation consultants, they all come to FPI monthly for a session to help our alumni understand what's the latest in the market. And all of this happens through our seamless LMS access, LMS portal access, everything through online. Live sessions are conducted through Zoom, and everything will be taken care of by our academic counselors and relationship managers when you get in touch with us. Okay. Now, CGFP program has 10 solid modules. Which are those modules? Asif, you want to cover this or you want to just cover the chart? I think chart would be interesting, right? You're on mute, Asif.
Yeah, hi. Let me share my screen and we'll go through the modules one by one.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, let me share screen. Okay, so as we saw, there are 10 comprehensive modules. Dhaval, let me know once you see the screen.
Yes, we can see this.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it one by one. So starting with the financial analysis module. So before we even start the program, we give you something called as the FP&A Launchpad for you to be able to prepare for the CDFP program and clear out all the basics that are required. So FP&A Launchpad is a 12-hour recorded program which we give you as a pre-reading that you can do before starting the CDFPA cohort, or you could do it simultaneously at respective intervals which we usually suggest. So that
I'll
is
just add one
introduction
point,
to.
Asif. I'll just add one point,
Yeah,
Asif.
yeah,
FP&A Launchpad can also help you get ready for the interviews. That was the main purpose as well,
yes.
right? You don't need to wait for the 6-month program to end, right? So we need to prepare you during the program. So that's why the FP&A Launchpad will at least bring you to a base level where you're interview ready.
All right, so
Bonus.
let me go into the core modules, which is financial analysis. So financial analysis, we cover all the applications of analysis that are typically required in an FP&A role, right from understanding basic FP&A terminologies, understanding different data related terminologies, understanding how the FP&A tools work, what are the different architectures, as Dhaval mentioned, in FP&A cubes, different ways in which you can analyze data. So there are 10 different ways in which you can analyze data, which FP&A people typically use on a day-to-day basis. Then we talk about benchmarking, ratio analysis. There are some advanced analysis case studies that are there as a part of the financial analysis module. And then finally, it has the working capital management. Okay. Also, we give you a pre-reading on the interpretation and reading on the financial statements as a refresher for some of you who may not be coming from the accounting background. So this is a little bit about the financial analysis module. Now you want to talk about strategy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you're on mute.
Yeah. So in terms of business strategy, right? So as and when you start becoming senior or you start interacting with senior folks in the company, they will start talking a strategic language. And if you don't understand those strategic tools and frameworks, strategy is not something which is random, right? We use it in a very loose term. So you need to understand all the popular strategic frameworks, right? The business strategy, corporate strategy, what is the difference, and what is the role of FP&A in these strategic decisions? That's what we try and cover through different examples, frameworks, and case studies in the business strategy module.
Next one is the financial modeling for FP&A. So again, we touched upon this briefly. So we cover financial modeling best practices and use cases for specifically FP&A day-to-day use cases. Some examples would be, how do you do revenue models? So we have different examples of different industries where you can see how revenue modeling can be done, or how revenue modeling typically is done using best practices. Then we learn how to do scenario planning. We learn how to do sensitivity analysis. We learn how to implement capital budgeting or projections for longer term using Excel. So formulas like NPV, IRR, concepts like payback period, and all the related terms all the related models relating to long term forecasting and budgeting. This is more or less the financial modeling. And then also we have the three statement financial model, which is something which everybody should know. How do you create a three statement financial model tying up the income statement, balance sheet, and the cash flow statement? So all in all, a very practical module. A lot of people find this module very implementable. They can easily go back to their work and implement that right away. Is what feedback we have received. Okay. Next one, let me cover that budgeting forecasting. So we cover right from the basics of budgeting, different methods that are used in budgeting. I would say the entire annual operating plan process, or the entire budgeting cycle. Then what are the different components of budgeting? Usually it is a form of a P&L where you have revenue budget, COGS budget, what is there in the COGS budget, SG&A budget, headcount and salaries budget. So these are the main parts that we cover using examples, case studies. So there are more than, I would say, 10 budget examples examples in the curriculum. And then there is a capstone project as well, which is an end-to-end budgeting cycle where we give you real life like company data, and we walk you through the entire process where you will be creating the budget on your own, and at the end you will be presenting it to us, assuming that we are CFOs, and you will be getting that end-to-end practice of doing the entire budget cycle along with the CFO presentation. Then we talk about forecasting, including basics, different techniques that you usually need to learn with examples with Excel files, the entire forecasting cycle. What does happen when the FP&A teams update the forecast, right from collecting assumptions, information, updating the models, to getting the things done in the cube, getting approvals, and then locking the entire locking the scenario and then uploading it into the tool. So the entire forecasting cycle is covered. This is more or less the budgeting forecasting module, highly practical. I believe more than there are 10 case studies and examples across different topics in budgeting and forecasting, and these are across different industries as well. You want to add anything on the budgeting forecasting?
No, I think we're good, Asif.
Okay, so let me move to management reporting. Management reporting, again, very similar to budgeting forecasting, highly practical, where we cover different types of management reports that you usually see in day-to-day work. Some of the common types we cover include flash reports, month-end and quarter-end decks. How do you do risk and opportunity analysis? We cover three different frameworks, which are most commonly used in different organizations: the KPI framework, the balanced scorecard framework, and the OKR framework. So this is what we cover in the types of management reports. And then we talk about variance analysis along with examples, case studies, profitability analysis with examples, case studies, recharges and allocations, which is an important part for you to be able to get to the net profit and do the profitability analysis. And then we have some industry related KPIs so that we usually cover in the program. So that is a little bit about the management reporting module. Though I'll
Yeah.
let you cover the remaining ones.
Yes, yes. In terms of data analytics, see, one thing that will be common is that you'll be dealing with large chunks of data, whether it is financial data or operational data. So what we have done is we have covered the basics. We are covering the basics of Power BI, Power Query, and SQL. These three tools. We are claiming to make you an expert, but at least we bring you to a level where you are comfortable to use these tools in your day-to-day FP&A roles as well. So there are exhaustive sessions on Power BI, Power Query, and SQL. And then comes data storytelling and presentations. Like I mentioned, you need to know your way to present it to the non-finance people. So there are four main components of a data storytelling, right? So one is your data, how do you and what kind of data you use. And there is visualization, what chart type to use, when to use, how many types of charts are there, what types of chart to use on your presentation, right? And then there is a narrative. Narrative is your messaging. When do you use a positive messaging? When do you use a negative messaging? Which audience needs what kind of message and charts, right? All of these things are important for you to communicate in the right way to various business teams. So that's what we cover with practical examples in the data storytelling and presentation module along with the best practices. And then I'll cover, then maybe you can touch upon AI.
Yeah,
In finance business partnering, we cover practical examples. Both Asaf and I have worked in various sectors, more than 6 to 7 different sectors. We try and cover examples of how do you collaborate with HR, how do you collaborate with IT, how do you collaborate with business development teams, and so on. Because that's what business partnering is, right? So we'll have to collaborate with them and influence their decisions. Okay. In this process, you'll be learning business acumen. Then you will be learning about building strong cross-functional relationships. How do you navigate if a requirement of a CEO? How do you navigate a requirement of a business unit head? All of these things are discussed in the finance business partnering module.
amazing. Okay, so let me cover the AI for finance module then. Okay, so what we do in the AI for finance and module is we cover all the latest tools with which you can do analysis, and I would say which can help you improve your productivity in your day-to-day and FP&A role. So we cover specific use cases for finance and across different tools. So we use tools like I would say Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini. I believe there are more tools that Dhaval has recently started sharing. Manus, Perplexity. So these are some tools which we cover in the AI for Finance and FP&A program, where we teach you how they are used for improving your productivity as a finance professional. Also, we talk about since we are associated with a lot of AI finance tools as well. So we actually can tell you what is right now going on in the AI and the AI related to finance world, along with what are the CFOs thinking. I would say what are the top challenges the teams are facing in implementing AI. A lot of teams are yet to implement AI, and they are still in the process of testing or doing the trials. So what are the challenges teams are facing in implementing AI? What tools they are implementing? There are very specific tools for each and every process, I would say, which are called agents or AI agents for different processes. So there's a tax agent that helps in the taxation process. There's an audit agent that can help you in throughout the entire auditing process. There is FP&A agents. So many agents have come up which can help you in budgeting, forecasting, variance analysis. So nowadays, a lot of FP&A teams do not actually have manually written variance analysis commentaries. They are all automated using AI tools, and then the analyst job is just to review them for accuracy, and then that saves a lot of time in doing the monthly reporting. So I would say data visualization another is important. If you've seen ChatGPT 5, it can create visualizations, it can create even dashboards. So how do you do that? All of that is covered, and it is continuously evolving. So we try to bring in whatever is happening latest in the AI for finance and FP&A. And I believe we will be doing our next live cohort soon, which we will give you access to as a CGFPA participant, which will happen somewhere in November. So we usually do a one live cohort every quarter, and the next one is happening in November. So you, as a CGFPA participant, will have free access to that entire AI for finance cohort as well. So that is what we had to cover in the CGFPA curriculum. I'll give it back, Dhaval.
Thanks, Asif. So I'm just putting my slides back. Yeah, so all in all, 10 solid modules. Don't just think about this as a certification. It's 20 years of Asif and my experience compressed into a 6-month program. So it's largely experiential in nature. And what is the eligibility for the CGFA certificate, right? So there are two things. One is either you need to have a bachelor's degree or a global equivalent in finance, accounting, or business, or alternatively, you may have your professional qualifications like CA, CPA, CMA, ACCA, or any respective accounting qualification of your country. Yeah. How will you get the CGFPA award? There are two conditions. Every Saturday, we meet live for 2 hours for the classes. You need to attend at least 50% of the classes live and then submit the assignment or the capstone within the stipulated deadline. These two things will make you eligible for the final examination. The final examination is a proctored exam, 2 hours, 50 questions, 100 marks, multiple choice questions type of examination. And once you complete that examination, you will be awarded the CGFPA certificate from any professional institute. We are an independent body at this point in time. We are also CPD UK accredited. You can claim your continuing credits in your respective accounting qualifications as well. Okay. Now, the ROI for a course like this, which can help you fast track your finance career, I leave it to your imagination. The fee investment in this program is USD 1695. There's also an option to pay over 5 months, 5 installments. And then the program will be for 6 months. And every week we'll be meeting live on Saturday for 2 hours. And apart from that, about 1 to 1.5 hours of your own time investment is required for you to go through the case studies, do the pre-reading, come prepared for the classroom, so that in the classroom, we spend time only on quality discussions and case studies as well. Okay. So the next cohort is starting on 27th of September 2025, which is next Saturday. 6th September was actually the orientation date. And that's, this is the date that you need to remember. 27th of September 2025 is when the next cohort is starting. That's cohort number 6, right? So there have already been 5 successful cohorts. Cohort 6 is starting now. The final round of applications are already closed. Maybe 1 or 2 seats might be available because a couple of students might be pushing it to the next batch. But make sure that if you are interested to join the waitlist, or DM Asif or me, and we would be able to accommodate you in the current cohort. Don't just take our word for it. There have been tons and tons of reviews. Reach out to any of our alumni and then tell you how the course has been for them, what value it has added to their careers. Many of them have been able to transition into FP&A roles. Many of them have been able to implement a lot of frameworks that they have learned in their roles, in their jobs. Again, you don't need to take our word for it. Reach out to any of our alumni and then they'll talk about it. The date, again, final round of applications have closed. Asif is still sharing the application link and the waiting list application in the chat box. Make sure that you join it. If you are keen on joining the current cohort, then DM us for me and we can help you, get onboarded in the current cohort itself. Now, if you're a beginner, if you're still not very sure if it is for you, but you're still exploring, you're on the fence, you want to just get prepared for the interviews and then try your hand at a couple of interviews, then go for the masterclass recorded program. There's also a live batch which is coming up in October. But if you like self-paced, then you can go for the recorded program as well. Both options are available. Along with that, you get our Power Resume Blueprint framework, which will tell you how exactly you need to prepare for your resume. What are some of the interview preparation steps and questions that you will need to address? And then mastermind call recordings, which are all our past tool accesses, guest accesses, guest session accesses that you will also be getting as well, right? And the recorded program is for USD 97. You can also use the coupon code early10 to avail 10% off if masterclass is something which is what you are looking for. If you have decided, if you're serious and if you want to go deep into FP&A, the CGFPA program is for you. If you're just starting out on FP&A and you're looking for beginner to intermediate level knowledge, then FP&A masterclass is something which you can explore, which is available on our platform, fpnaprofessionals.com. Okay, great. Thanks everyone.
Great.
Wishing you all the best for your finance careers. Hopefully we will meet in one of our programs.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody. Bye. Have a great
Bye.
evening.
Thanks.
Bye.